Hello and welcome back to a new episode. Today we will be tackling Sheoldred, Whispering One, and she's the Black Praetor with Swamp Walk, and beginning of your upkeep you can return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, and during your opponent's upkeep they sack a creature. So it's one of the strongest black cards I think that's been made ever, just because the swing is actually humongous. You're getting +1, they're getting -1. That's just such a beneficial component to this card. And how do we utilise the ability? Well, basically we want to put lots of stuff into your graveyard. So when building a deck like this, you want to have effects like Stitch's Supplier, which allows you to mill your own deck. And then once you've got cards in your graveyard, you can reanimate them with Sheoldred. Other fantastic cards that synergise, so Conrad, which says whenever another creature dies, always put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, it does 1 damage to each opponent. And you can also pay 1 black to have each player mills a card. So essentially, whenever a creature touches a graveyard from anywhere, it's going to be dealing with damage to your opponent, which is incredibly powerful for an uncommon. It's also 5/4, which is really good. You've also got Dreadhound, which is very similar, but it comes in at mills 3, which is already really good for this kind of deck. And then whenever a creature dies or a creature card is put into go from a library, each opponent loses 1 life. So it's basically having 2 Conrads. So with this and the Conrad out, every time a creature dies, they're going to lose 2. So as you can imagine, things add up really quick. You've got the stereotypical humongous creatures like Ulamog, Vilis. You've even got Void Beckoner in here, which is kind of handy because you can pay 3 to just toss it into your bin and then do a surprise your enemy in your turn. And it's an 8/8 with Death Touch. Any abilities that let you pitch the creature into the bin are going to be really effective for cheating them out. And yeah, the deck list will be in the description below. This was a really fun deck to play and testing, and I hope you enjoy the gameplay that you're going to see. Join me after the games to see my review of what I thought. And yeah, let's get into some gameplay then. Opponent goes first with an Unji deck, or an Anya. Not sure how you pronounce that. So whenever she or something else does something else happens. I guess I'll read that in a bit. This is a much better starting hand. So let's have another read. Whenever Anya, Maid of Anya, of Dishonour and or 1 or more other vampires enter, create a blood token. This only happens once per turn. Okay, and then it says, sack another creature or blood, each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. That's so many conditions and words there. So many things to read. It just hurts my head. So basically, vampire or her comes in, you get a blood, max 1 per turn. Sack a creature or blood to make someone drain 2. That's actually kind of powerful, actually. Yeah. Once you read it a few times, get it into your head. It's just not one you see very often. Ooh, Florian. So I think I'm going to definitely kill him here. Very powerful card. I've seen Florian do a lot of work. And yeah, pass the turn. If he had 2 power, then it might have been better to save the Elspeth's Nightmare, but he doesn't. So here comes Anya. And I think I'm going to Grasp here because the Hero's Downfall could be more useful if they play a Planeswalker. So I would go for the Field of Ruin, but I think I want to get the quadruple blackout for the Obliterator. So luckily we've had some really powerful removal spells to just tide us over till we can establish our field. Westgate Regent. It's got Ward, discard a card. Okay. So I'm definitely going to try and kill it here. And I'm going to get rid of the Obliterator, I think. Just because we can get it out of the graveyard anyway. And it gives us a reason to go for Sheoldred, doesn't it? And pass the turn. So next turn we can go for Bellis or Citadel unless they manage to discard it. So let's just hope. Draw 2, lose 2. Okay, so they're going to refill their hand. Very nice. All these blood tokens are going to be very powerful if they ever get Anya out. Maybe I should have attacked with a Hive there. That probably would have been a good move, to be honest. Yeah, that was a mistake to not attack. We can't do anything else anyway. So whenever they crack one of these blood tokens, this becomes a 3/3. Okay, so we're going to take 3 here. In some situations, it would be good for me to block, but I think, yeah, we just need the mana, don't we? We need to be able to play the Citadel next turn. If they have the 6 mana Olivia that attacks and resurrects, we could be in a bit of trouble. Because they seem to have a somewhat of a creature-heavy theme here. And a Ravenous Bloodseeker as well. So we could just kill this with the Elspeth's Nightmare. Maybe that's better. Let's go for Duress as well. Yeah, I couldn't play a land off the Citadel anyway, so it's not as effective. Okay, get rid of that. So they've got ways to steal our guys. That's pretty scary. So they could discard a card to make... yeah, that could have screwed me over there. Yeah, I probably should have checked, but they could have given it +3... sorry, +2, -2, which would have made it 3/1, which means that Elspeth Nightmare doesn't work. Okay, now they've got sack fodder for when we go for Sheoldred, which is terrifying. And also they have the Dominating Vampire as well. Enters, gain control of target creature with mana value less than equal to the number of vampires you control. Right, okay, so maybe Sheoldred is the answer here. Go for Sheoldred first. If it does get around to us, we can get the Obliterator back. So they can drain us for a lot here. They've got enough to drain us for 6. That would cost them 6, but, you know, would be down to 14. Kind of, this is a really powerful deck. I'm kind of happy as well that the Elspeth's Nightmare goes off. Oh, so they did have the Olivia. What are the odds of that? What are the odds? So they can get back the West Gate region, I guess. This is far too common, seeing this. I see this all the time. Wow, that's crazy. That just changed the entire structure of the game. Oh, Soul Shatter. That works, doesn't it? So that'll get rid of... Alright, so we have to time this. Right. So we're going to leave... Oh, have we just lost here? Because Anya can drain us for a lot. Let's see what they do. Okay. So now it looks like... Yeah, I messed up big time by not attacking with a Hive. Right, so this goes on the stack. So let's see what they sack. If they go for the Anya, this is good for us. Okay. So they've chosen to put Anya there. So now, if I Soul Shatter, then that means they lose the Olivia, and they also lose the Westgate region. Yep, because the stipulation here is that the creature only exists as long as you control a legendary vampire. So they've actually lost everything there. Oh, that was insane. See, timing there was mega important. So yeah, just so you guys know, the creature that it resurrects says it gains when you don't control a legendary vampire, exile this creature. So obviously, if I had made them sack a creature in my turn, they would have probably sacked the Westgate region, right? But because in their turn they got greedy, they chose to sack the Anya, which means if they lose Olivia, they wouldn't have the other creature. So yeah, that was crazy. Very lucky. Okay, so this could be an interesting one. We've got 2 graveyard decks vying for control. Scarab God's going to be looking to reanimate anything. And we can reanimate our own. So the Phyrexian Scriptures could be nice, because this exiles the opponent's graveyard at least. Yeah, they could get a lot of value from Scarab God. So the Scriptures is going to be useful to take out all their stuff. Death Baron, okay. So maybe for now, I'll just go for the Celestis. No attacks. So they can go for the Scarab God here. We've got nothing in our graveyard. So I go for the Scriptures, and then let's hope they don't have a way to stop the Scriptures going off. So it's a good thing we didn't go for the Timret Calls the Dead, because they would have been able to resurrect something. Potentially. Oh, they're going for Lily.
Let us march into battle.
So if they make a zombie, they're
comrades.
going to draw 3 cards when Scriptures goes off. Interesting. Do they sack now, or do they just... Okay, they're going to go up.
This looks like a fun new toy.
Sure. So the Scarab God will go back to their hand eventually, unless we can exile something now, but we can't. Maybe we should have played the Crawling Barons earlier. Oh well. So I really, really want to hit them, but I think I'm going to have to go for the Liliana here.
Back off.
And then go for the Bloodfast. And Timret try and spam the field a bit. So she could use her minus. Let's get rid of this. Five, 6. So they don't have enough mana to go for Scarab God and a Resurrect yet. Jadar, okay. 2 Lilianas. This is pretty rough.
Apologies for the smell.
Although saying that, we have a Massacre Worm.
I prefer friends in low places.
They're going to draw a lot of cards though.
Rise.
Goodness me. Do we want to get rid of the Woe Strider? I suppose. I mean, it gives us a creature right now, which is what we need. So we're going to make them draw a lot of cards here, but it does clear the field. And don't forget, if our Massacre Worm dies, then we can just reanimate it. I think going for this Liliana is more important at the moment, because she can revive something for -3. Yeah, this is definitely a tough matchup, considering they've just drawn about 7 cards extra. Scarab God and 3 mana open. Fell Stinger. Okay.
Servitude.
This is interesting.
Think of it as partnership. Putrid, but effective.
Bajuka Bog. Now that's... Okay, Bajuka Bog's actually kind of a nice hit if we can get Scarab God into their graveyard. Although, she's at 7. What could we do? Maybe we swing everything into this Liliana now, because they're just drawing so many cards, aren't they? Okay.
I'll find a use for you. Waste not death is enlightening.
So it is annoying that we have the Bajuka Bog on top and not drawn. We could sign in blood first. Yeah, because we don't even have the Sheoldred, do we? Ooh, Bolus the Citadel. Okay. So let's make them sack the Scarab God and then play the Bajuka Bog, I think. Okay. So they've got so many cards here, pretty crazy. We're going to exile their graveyard. So it's funny how powerful a Bajuka Bog can be. And then we got the Stitches Supplier as well. Okay, so let's see what they've got. If they don't disrupt our Bolus's Citadel, we might be able to go off, but we'll see.
Nothing
At this
is
point,
more
I mean,
loyal
even
than the
something
dead.
like resurrecting the Massacre Worm would be just good.
Rise and shine.
But it's definitely stacked against us. Wow, okay, so they're protected against our Massacre Worm now. Somewhat annoyingly. Alright then, let's see if we can do anything with the Bolus's Citadel. Land. Oh my, okay. So Bond of Revival. This gets back the Massacre Worm. Oh, that would have been so good. So we'll discard a card, see if we can draw anything on top. Oh, that would have been so good, having the Soul Shatter, but oh well. I guess we have to swing at them. If they block, they'll lose 2. They draw another card.
I've learned much from death.
8, 9, 10. So if we block one of these, potentially we could be okay, but I don't think we're going to survive this, unfortunately.
Death is
Yeah, this
ever-present.
Narfi's literally saved them. Okay.
Good help is easy to find in war.
So they can deal 6 in the air. They really like Scarab God, don't they? Attacking in, so we'll block one of the 4s, I guess. So we can't really cast anything because we've got 1 life, but this does mean that the Bloodfast will flip, which is interesting. Very interesting indeed. So is there a way out of this? So we'll transform this. So if we play this, we can kill one of their things potentially. How do we get around this? Do we have to kill the Narfi? Kill the Narfi. If they counter it, then we're screwed either way, so... Ooh, they're sacking in response. They're going to lose 2 from this.
I'll find
Holy
a
moly,
place for
okay.
you later.
Down to 7. How do we get out of this? So we need a way to, like, if we flickered the Massacre Worm, we could just win. Flying 4/4. I think what we do is we attack first. So they have to block this. Okay, so they'll take 2 when this dies. Okay.
Waste not, want not.
Right, so this is really tricky. So we're going to sacrifice the Massacre Worm here. This will give us a bit of life to work around with. It's a real shame that we couldn't have gotten this into our hand, because that would have been a way to kill something. Okay, so we're going to lose 4 from this 1 spell. Yeah, I don't think there was anything we can do now. But it was pretty damn close. They're down to 5. Yeah, that Narfi. It was a Narfi, wasn't it? And we can draw a card with the Celestus. Draw a card. Discard the Relic. Oh, that's a real shame. Yeah, if we managed to get this out earlier, we could have maybe gotten something out there. Activate the Heirloom Mirror. Discard a card. Yeah, there's nothing we can do. Play the land. Yep, that's cool. We'll just go to their turn and let them finish us off. Sure, let's see what was on top. More swamps. Okay. Narfy. Narfy, narfy, narfy. Come on then, finish me off. Oh. So we go down to one permanent type of each. Cool. So yeah, Liliana takes us down to one of each permanent type we have. You can just swing in, but they choose to...
Another minion never hurts.
There we go. Sweet. Sweet game. That could have gone either way there. But yeah. Nice game. Nice game. Moving on to the next one. Okay, so we go first against the reality chip. So the reality chip is all cool artwork as well. They can play cards from the top of the library as long as it's been reconfigured onto one of the creatures. So who knows what this could be. This could be just a genuinely value build, but I have seen some scary builds out there with some combos in it, so we'll just have to wait and see. There's no way of knowing until we actually start seeing a few cards. Okay, so let's start with the Hive of the Eye Torrent. We've got a really good start to our game with the Horde Robber. If we can get Horde Robber out and attack a few times, get a bit of extra mana. Sorry if you can hear some loud banging from downstairs. My boy is smashing something, I don't know what it is. He's a little vandal. So yeah, Horde Robber, one of my favourite cards. Being able to ramp is mega important. And luckily we do have an answer here in the Elswith's Nightmare. This will get rid of the reality chip and something in the hand the following turn. And I do wish some people would play out a bit more than that, because I was looking forward to seeing where we were going. But unfortunately, I guess some people can't hack it. Moving on to the next game. Okay, opponent goes first with Sauron, Imperious, Bloodlord. So they're going to be a mono black vampire build. Probably quite aggressive. We've got a few good starting cards here. These removal spells are going to be very helpful for getting rid of their early plays, and we can even kill Sauron eventually. And the Maya Triton will be a nice blocker due to the Death Touch, and potentially attacker. No play yet. So their next play could potentially be Sauron into a huge vampire, which will be very bad for us, but... Okay, so we did get a creature into the graveyard, which is always good. So it looks like they're definitely going to get a vampire into play. Is it going to be Westgate Regent or something? Or the bigger one? Henrika Don Nathi. Okay. So luckily, we do have a way to get rid of their blocker. So we'll be able to kill the Sauron as well. Please don't concede. Let's get ourselves a good game here. Sometimes you kill someone's general and that's just it. They just concede, which is kind of bad. It's not a very fun experience. You don't want to see an auto concession. Depends what it is. Elspeth's Nightmare, right. So now we want to get rid of non-creature cards from our hand. So I suppose we'll go for Keith the Archive, which ironically will add one into our hand, but oh well. So if we go for Day of Judgment, looks like they might have to get rid of this. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'll discard the Grasp. And then I'm guessing they either go for the Vraska's Contempt. Well, there's only two choices. Don't know. Probably the Vraska's Contempt, because this can kill their Sauron. But yeah, this is a great hit for them because it also exiles our graveyard. And considering we have two creatures in our graveyard.
I bound to nothing beyond my own obligations.
Right. So yeah, we definitely want to exile the Sauron here.
Darkness Darkness will always return.
rather than playing the Dreadhound, because the Dreadhound's creatures that it mills will just get exiled anyway. So it wasn't any point doing that. And it is a bit weird how they just went for Sauron and upticked without playing a vampire. Does that mean their entire hand is removal spells, perhaps? Let's hope not. So we are running on incredibly low gas here, which is not very nice, but they're probably gonna kill this. Oh, I've got no creatures that went to the graveyard. Pretty unlucky, to be honest. So they do kill the Dreadhound. We can always resurrect it with Sheoldred, but it looks like they might be saving a removal spell. Or not. Fair enough. That was a strange game, to be honest. We go first against Jazdi, Oracle of Arcavios. I'm not really sure what kind of deck this is going to be. It can go many different directions. Very big on lands. So some kind of landfall build, maybe. We shall have to see. Very vague and ambiguous directions with this general, so I guess some of the power comes in the mystery. We don't really know what they'll be doing here. But yep, getting the ramp's nice because we can get the Liliana out a little bit earlier. And hopefully they play a creature in their turn, so that means we can kill it, whatever it is. Oof, okay, so they're not actually playing anything. So it could be a control deck, which is not nice to see here. So maybe we just activate this. Do they have a bounce spell? Okay. Yeah, this is the thing about blue. They might not have a single counter, but I'm playing around it. I really don't want to lose the Liliana. That is interesting. So they did have a counter. But they didn't have a removal spell then. So could they have one here? Let's find out. Oh, I really hate facing counter decks. I really do. So they're going to return it to our hand. Okay. They had to use a land for that. Sure thing. Circuitous Route. So this may give us a window to go for the Lily. See if we can resolve this. Fantastic, so we can.
You're standing in my way.
Okay, creature in the graveyard is always good to see. Drawn from Dreams. That's a scary card. Gives them 2 of the best cards in the top 7. And a Growth Spiral. So they're taking their turn off. Wow, completely turned their turn off. Okay, let's see what we can do. We could revive the Obliterator, but I think I just want to keep milling a bit longer here.
Another minion never
So if we do
hurts.
this, that gives us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not enough. I mean, we could just go shields down completely. Let's give it a go. See what they got then. The biggest blowout would obviously be some kind of Flood of Tears effect. Raven form. So that exiles Sheoldred. Okay. Fair enough. That does mean that's 1 fewer exile spell for the Ulamog at least. Wow. Drawing 7 cards. Okay. They're going to have to discard though. Draw 7. That's crazy. Well, let's see if we can just take him out with these zombies then.
I am in control.
Turn on the gleaming, the crawling barons. That's 7 damage. It's a pretty good clock. Brazen Borrower, okay. They've got a lot of cheeky little bounce spells here and there. We've got a really powerful board wipe here that kills all non-zombies, so that could be effective. I think the thing I'm dreading the most is something like mass manipulation. Discover the formula. Wow, they are drawing so many cards, but they're not really doing anything else. I'm not really sure what they're gearing up for. And somewhat annoyingly, Ulamog doesn't even have many good targets. Like, okay, we can get rid of 2 lands, but what will that really do? I mean, Ulamog would be good. Let's go for the Burning Rune Demon here. So if we go for 2 huge creatures, that means Lily can resurrect at least one of them, right? That's the logic. Because they can only give us 1. So maybe something like Dreadhand and Sir Conrad, because they're literally the same card. Sir Conrad is a bit better. But basically, yeah, it's a funny tutor. This is because you want to, you know, it's a mind games tutor. Really good in flicker effect decks. So Sir Conrad goes in the bin, which means we can just return it. So now if they board wipe, somehow, I don't know how they do that, but gives us a bit more of an edge. I'm guessing they got some kind of Flood of Tears effect. That would be really bad. I suppose they won't get to play anything. Elrond's Epiphany, okay. Extra turn. It always is an extra turn, isn't it? Search for his counter. Precog Field, okay. I would honestly be super happy if they just banned all extra turn effects. Not really much skill behind them. Especially when you consider how many copy effects there are in this format. So they're getting that back. Okay, that's scary because they're going to get more cards here. Do they have another extra turn effect? What does the big Jazz even do? So whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery reveal top card, if it's on land you may pay 1 rather than if it's land. Okay, interesting. Jeez, they must have drawn like 12, 15 cards. They're at 9, so they need ramping again. So you may put any lands from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay. Is there some kind of scape shift combo maybe? I'm not really sure. Primal Amulet, okay. Maybe I'm just getting psyched out from my own knowledge of the game here, but I can't really... Oof, Thassa's Oracle. Well, that certainly says Wink on it, but they're not triggering it here. So Pact of Negation is the worst. Right, so what can we do? If we go for Dreadhound... This mills. Come on, get some creatures here. No creatures at all. What else do we have in the yard? Frightened Obliterator. Okay, let's make another zombie.
Oh, look what I found.
And then... what else could we do? I guess we could just Dark Ritual and then downfall the Oracle. That'll get a couple more triggers. And they don't get to block one more thing. So can they survive this hit? I don't know. I don't think they can. Surely not. This has got flying and this is 5/4. So when they both die, they drain even more. Yeah, so that was exact Xyz with extra triggers on top. Very intriguing game there. Not really sure what was going on, but I'll take that win. Hi guys, welcome back to the end of the video where the post-game review occurs, which is this moment right now. And so what do I think about Sheoldred? Well, again, I'm starting to change my mind on the Praetors in one-on-one formats. I'm not sure how viable they actually are. Because the format is so hyper-aggressive, it doesn't really have the same feel as when you play these things in Commander. I think in multiplayer formats, these are obviously a lot better because they trigger more often during each opponent's upkeep. But if you're only getting one upkeep trigger, then yeah, it's still going to be good, but your hit rate is certainly going to decrease. And also, when you just cast a 7-mana spell and then your opponent has the entire turn to react, it does feel bad when she gets killed early, or any Praetors in fact. And black doesn't really have many ways to mitigate that, apart from like Thought Seize and Duress effects to get rid of the removal spells before you resolve these. But as you could see in a lot of the games I played, didn't really get to cast her that often, and when I did, she wasn't that effective. So although she feels powerful in one-on-one, yeah, again, not really sure. Obviously the best synergies in the deck are always going to be Sir Conrad and the Dreadhound, because anything that deals with dying or reviving or moving zones, these guys are just going to shine. And don't forget that you've even got the 1 and black ability on this to make each player mill a card, so that is also useful for Sheoldred's reanimation ability. So getting this out a bit earlier, milling yourself, always a good deal. But yeah, use these at your own peril, I guess. I suppose there's a reason why I don't really see the Praetors very much. It's because they're just so slow. But we'll get around to seeing the red one eventually. Maybe Urabrask is good at 5 mana, but we'll have to see. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, catch you then. If you enjoyed watching this video, why not try some of my other videos on my channel? And don't forget to support me by hitting the like and subscribe button for more content like this.